Hi, everyone. Uh, Thank you for joining us on this live session again. Just want to make sure that we are live, so just give me a second while I make sure the audio. If you can hear me right now, please just comment below. If you can hear me, the audio is good, the video is good. So we can actually just make sure that all these things are in place before we continue. All right, let me just turn this on. Make sure that all these things are in cool. Place. All right. So audio is good, video is good. We're live streaming right now. Thank you. Thank you. How is everybody doing in this Wednesday, right? All right. So today is actually Wednesday. In this great evening, I'm sure all of you are just finish your work and maybe preparing for your dinner. Well, so I just want to take this quick chance because this whole entire day I was having so much consults with so many different clients and families, right? So I just did up a very quick deck here to maybe reiterate some of the points where you can actually learn from during this COVID at the comfort of your own home. Yeah, so for those who are first time here with us, well, welcome to join us in this Facebook Live. And well, so during this entire period, we will be constantly updating a lot of property information where you are able to actually learn from, empower yourself with more knowledge. And most importantly is that once you gain the knowledge, you have the confidence and understanding on what do you want to do for your own property matters in time to come. All right. So since everyone is at home during this COVID situation, we have some spare time. Why not take this chance to spend an hour or two to get yourself equipped with the new latest knowledge and the latest information about property matters. So let me just make sure that we are all in sync here. Okay, these. All right, so keep your comments coming. If you have any burning questions from regarding property, please feel free to just comment below, and we'll try to address it along the way if we can. Yeah. All right, so today the question is this a good time to buy now? All right, so the main title is this a good time to buy now? Don't worry, I have nothing to sell you, okay, at the moment, all right? So there's nothing to sell you that I'm not asking you to buy something, there's totally nothing. But I think I want to make this an hour or so just to make sure that you get certain information out there, whatever the situation is happening out there, there are mass medias, there are maybe hearsays from friends or even some of your colleagues or even relatives, or family members. They will be getting wrong information outside, and then when they deliver it to you, it may be misrepresented. So this is one of the reasons why we want to do this. And let me share with you why this is a huge problem currently, because of the lack of information out there, right? Whether it's mass media or from the TV, everybody is trying to guess what is going to happen after COVID situation. When is the recovery stage going to come in? So the key question is it a good time to buy now? All right, the big question is it a good time to buy now? I just want to quickly run through some of my screens and just to give you guys some heads up. So in the event, if let's say you have not like and follow our Facebook page, please feel free to go and do so that we are able to actually keep you posted whenever we do live sessions like this or any new updates in terms of information for property. All right, so let me just toggle my screen here very quickly so you can actually see. Let me see. Yeah, this is the one. All right. So yeah, uh, first of all, I just want to show you all this very quick chart that I've prepared for you all. All right. All right. So if you can see, one of the I'm going to dive straight into this. So a lot of situation when we saw from a newspaper and all, we may not just we just maybe see one of the surface part. But I just want to give you all guys some updates in terms of what is happening in the entire property market. Be it whether it's a landed property, HDB, or even a private property. So this is data from actually SingStat. All right, it's not from me. So we do a lot of research, we do a lot of data collection and analysis regarding what is happening to the property market. The reason very straightforward. We want to help you to connect all these dots, to piece up all this information together, so you yourself as a family are able to take this information and make a logical decision when it comes to your own property plans. All right, for if you are hearing me sound and clear, do just feel free to comment. All right. So at least I know that you're hearing me. And if you find that I'm going a little bit too fast, feel free to just comment slower. So I will just take my time to run through this. Okay. All right. So coming back to this screen here, if you can see, the red color gap is actually the HDB. And one of the key thing that you have to understand is since 2013, the HDB market ever since 2013 has been on a downward decline situation. All right. And even come to 2018 or even 2020, right? We have been seeing easily negative 1% to negative 3%, depending on location, right? So you're actually getting a decline in terms of HDB property prices. Whereas on the other hand, as we all understand, so this is actually your private property. Private property movement. All right, the reason why we took OCR, because this is where the most mass market, most of us, we are owning a property in the outskirts of Singapore. So OCR, let me just give you some brief understanding. OCR means is outside core region. Right, so if you're talking about outside core region, we're talking about areas like the Punggol, Punggol, Changi, Pasir Ris, Woodlands, Jurong. We are talking about the outskirts of Singapore. All right. So I'm not going to go through this into details of how the zonings are like and what are the estimate PSF. That one I will run it on a separate session. Cool. All right. So coming back to this chart, right? If you look at property price index. Okay, let me explain a little bit of what does price index stands for. Yeah. So price index actually represents the entire Singapore average pricing for property. So from this chart, what you can see is that this is the average HDB pricing across the region from 2013 all the way to 2019, as well as the average pricing for private property from 2013 all the way to 2019. What we notice the trend is that generally from 2013 all the way to 2017, the HDB and the private market prices are going in tandem. So if you can see from this chart, when the market goes down, the private market goes down, HDB markets also is on a decline. So this has always been the notion for Singapore properties. When the HDB and the private property goes up, they all go up together in tandem. And if it comes down, it also comes down a little bit. Of course, there's always this gap in between in terms of pricing, but we're not going to touch on that today. But what is interesting is when it comes to this very specific year, within the 2017 to 2018 period, what we realize is that there is suddenly a diverging situation happening. Meaning the HDB from 2017 to 2020 is still on a downward trend. Whereas the private property is on a upward trend. So this is something that we after our research, we realized that this is playing a very significant role in terms of our property planning. All right, because I mean, just imagine if today almost 90% of Singaporeans own HDB, right? So that is always usually the first fundamental home that we have. So imagine if, let's say, you are a family who just own a HDB, chances are we have aspiration to want to move into a private property or upgrading to a better lifestyle. And so what we saw, right, is that during this period from 2017 onwards, there may be a chance that the gap between two types of property, the gap between the HDB and the property prices is diverging to a certain level where even when in times to come, if we want to upgrade ourselves from a public housing to a private property, the time and the gap could be a little bit out of reach. All right. So when we see this trend, right, this is just something for you all to understand that right now this is what is happening in terms of the market situation where the pricing gap between the HDB and the private property is actually diverging. So the more that it diverge, am I right to say that it may take the depreciating property to actually catch up with the appreciating factor property, which is a private property here. Right. I mean, one of the reasons why I want to show you this chart is because I just want to give you guys a heads up of what is generally happening inside the current marketplace. All right, a lot of us, we are having very little knowledge, very little information about how property can be done systematically. So part of our sessions for all this is really to equip you guys with the correct knowledge. And that says, I just want to give you guys a quick heads up. It's like, okay, so what is our role here as your consultant is always to make sure that you are able to plan ahead in terms of your real estate journey. All right, we want to give you information and knowledge that you can equip yourself and make a better decision later on. But by doing that is we want to furnish you with all the different numbers, your analysis, as well as the data that we can collect and research on. So when we discuss with you, when we consult with you, you are able to make a sound decision. All right, so a lot of our sessions will be touching on quite a fair bit in terms of the numbers and data, because I always believe with numbers is very practical. You know, it's a yes or a no. All right, so there's no much emotional attachment in terms of seeing the numbers. All right, although property is still something that we would love to buy so that we can stay and we want it to be what we want, you know, we want to first go in from the logical aspect, which is from the numbers. Because today, am I right to say that even if you desire to own a property in a prime location that you wanted, if we have not done our financial sums correctly, we have not done our entry and exit strategy properly, you will be very worried when it comes to times like this. You know, when a sudden crisis like this happen, this COVID situation, you know, a lot of homeowners will panic because they may over leverage, they may overpay a property. I mean, when they buy a property, they just buy without realizing they actually overpay. You know, or some of them, they did not calculate their affordability right. So when it comes to a situation like this, they will be very fearful that what is going to happen later on. So this is something that we always want to avoid for our clients and families. And that is the reason why when we came out our REI method, all right, REI method, this, all right, REI method. All right, when you come out this REI method, one of the key element that we structure into our method is to have enough safety nets to withstand situation like this. So even when this COVID happens, you know, you are not worried about whether, even if you're unemployed, you know, whether even if, let's say, somebody falls sick and cannot work, you will not be so concerned about your property, because why? We already built in enough safety nets for you to ride through this situation. All right. So let me just make sure that we are still online and everything is still fine. Great. All right. So if you find that this is something that is very useful in terms of the chart, feel free to just, you know, give me some hearts and give me some love and comment that you have actually gotten something out from it. All right. I hope that you guys are learning something so far. All right. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into how we actually help clients to, you know, structure their situation. And there's basically some fundamentals that we look a little bit before we actually move forward with their plan. All right. So if, let's say, if you have not saw this video, all right, if you have not go online and see this video, so before you continue this live session, maybe you want to just, you know, go to see this video as the part one. All right, we call it part one. All right, so part one is crucial for you to actually understand why 97% of homeowners will fail in a crisis first. All right, so if you have not, feel free to just make sure that you go and watch this video that we have recorded live before. That I think should be some time back, a week back or something. You know, go through this session first. At least you know what are we handling, so that when you come to this, you can just continue from it. All right. So we are constantly having a lot of live sessions like this to equip you with the correct knowledge and information. All right. So if you have missed it out, no problem. Later on, I will just type in the comment below, so you can actually direct link to the session before. All right. So let's just continue. Okay, I just want to give you guys a heads up. If you are thinking that the entire real estate market in Singapore is at a standstill, okay, the reason why, because we as consultants, we basically cannot perform our duty because the what do you call it? The governing body does not allow us to do much viewings. We even if we have houses to sell, we can't appear. Even if we have clients who need to buy a property, we can't serve them. All right. So the traditional way of serving is like, oh, we meet them, we go to houses and houses. So right now, totally zero. All right. So there are actually some clients who call us and it's like, oh, now that you cannot do any much of all this, wouldn't you be affected? I mean, in practicality, yes, it's like zero lah. Zero movement, zero activities. But what we have done was we evolve along the way. All right. So we turn to digital, we turn to online, we turn to virtual sessions like this to actually advise a lot of our clients during this period. And very interestingly is a lot. So basically there are two separate groups of clienteles that we are handling now. So later I'll share with you which are the groups. And so before that, I just want to give you guys a quick heads up that actually deals are still being done. All right, you may think that, oh, because of this situation, the entire property market is going to be gloom and doom. I think the recent papers also highlight about the property market is going to go into recession, blah, 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 blah. But surprisingly, for the last 3 weeks when COVID happened, are you aware that there are actually transactions going on? All right. So this is something that, like I say, is only because we are in the business, right? So we know what is happening. Many a times when we don't know what we don't know, we tend to just be oblivious and say that, oh, the market is actually very quiet. There's no transactions going on. But surprisingly, all right, even though there's this COVID, there will always be people who see an opportunity to come into the market. And just to prove that, like I say, I'm not boasting about what we have done, but I'm just sharing with you to get this mentality of that actually there are still movement in the real estate market. It's just that whether are you inside this market or not. All right. So if you're sitting on the outside fence, of course you won't know, right? Of course you won't know what is happening inside the real estate market. But because we are, and every single day I can tell you, we're still seeing transactions happen. Because why? Because all these are our friends. We have sold property, and it's not only just about property. We are doing all these situations through virtual tours, virtual consultations, virtual viewings, and these are just some examples that we actually close units, almost on a daily basis because there are always families and clients who are waiting for an opportunity like this and come into the picture. I'm just sharing you some examples. Maybe at this point you say that, yeah, of course lah, they all go and buy new launches, they can just buy off from plans and they don't need to see the property. But you'll be surprised that actually even HDB and resale properties are being sold. Like let me just give you an example. Like this one, of course, these are new launches examples. These are all the new launches examples that has been sold. But actually, we also sold HDBs and resale private property through virtual, we call it virtual reality. Basically online. So once we are online, we do virtual tours, we do virtual assessments, we do virtual consults, and everything is done without them seeing the property. Right? You'll be like shocked, like what? Will people actually do that? During this period. But it is the truth, right? I mean, whatever I'm showing you is a lot of our colleagues and our peers have done it during this period quietly while other people are concerned and fearful, or they are putting all the negative thoughts into their mind. There are always a group of clients and families. They have done their assessment, they have done it right, and they want to move forward. And that is why transactions are still going on. All right. Of course, I will not touch this on this session, but there will be one session that I'll be touching on to highlight to you the effect of the SARS period, that's in 2003, all right, versus the financial crisis, which is an 0809, as well as the 2013 coding measures. What has these three milestones in terms of our property cycle has an impact to us today in reference to COVID 2020. All right, so that one is a very interesting session, and it will likely be happening within these few days. All right, because I'm preparing all the data and research. I just want to make sure that I'm giving you guys enough information so you know what is happening moving forward. All right, because by looking at the past, we will have a form of understanding and references that the history can actually repeat itself. So we want to take it as a reference and help us make a decision for our future. All right, so this is very, very important. So there are actually two groups of clientele that I want you guys to actually understand from. All right, so perhaps if you have not seen, okay, let's just run through with you guys a little bit. So, yep, okay, getting the, yeah, this one takes a little bit longer to load. All right, so we have been closing cases from private properties to new launches to even HDBs and even resale HDBs. We have been doing all this. So the things are going, things are moving, transactions are moving. It's just a matter of whether are you involved when you need to. All right, everything starts with a plan. You have followed one of my series. I highlighted everything starts with a plan in your property. If you don't plan, you'll be out to fail. All right, so you must plan first. All right, because if you fail to plan, your plan will definitely fail in time to come. So there are basically two groups of audience that basically right now, what we see and the, let me just give you guys. All right, so basically the first type. Okay, the first type of homeowners, or should I say consumers out there, is that they are kind of pre-COVID situation, right? So they are pre-circuit breaker. What do you mean by pre-circuit breaker? Meaning prior to that, a lot of all these inquiries from all these clients, whether they have seen our property before or they inquire through our advertisements, through our different portals, they have inquired and they wanted to do an assessment before circuit breaker starts, right? So this group of family homeowners, right, we already went through some assessment with them to determine which level are they at in their property plan. So for this group, all right, which is the first group, right, they are what we call, they are ready to act. All right, they are ready to act because we have already went through multiple rounds of assessment to determine their affordability, to determine their risk assessment, their safety nets, what is the price point that they want to actually enter into a property, what are their plans, what are their situation like. So we already went through multiple rounds for these groups of family members, or should I say clients or families. All right, so for this group, of course, when it comes to now, they are ready to act. So why is it that there are some transactions are still ongoing? Because prior to COVID situation, we already planned for it. No matter what the situation is, if your situation requires you to buy another property for investment or for savings, buy another property for your own stay, there are multiple reasons that it cannot be you want to push all this decision making till COVID situation finish. And speaking of COVID, frankly, I personally feel that the COVID situation will last longer. All right, so this is my of course, touch wood. We definitely want it to be cleared as fast as possible, and kudos to all the frontliners and the government who has actually structured it to be very, very manageable, that even our usual lifestyles did not really go out of hand. But of course, for me personally, because I tend to plan ahead, so even for my client situation, we always want to plan ahead in the worst case scenario. So I'm giving myself like 5 to 6 months that this is going to last. And if you, I mean, you can choose not to believe what I say, of course. Like I say, I also wish it can finish as early as possible. But looking at the situation, I'm taking the worst position first so that I can help to think ahead for my clients in the worst position first. So if anything happens earlier, then it's a huge bonus for everybody. So I always highlight, don't wait to plan. All right. You rather plan and then you execute and you wait for it. All right. So what is the second group of audience? The second group of family homeowners is that we call it the post COVID situation. All right. So post circuit breaker is meaning you want to grab this opportunity. All right, you want to grab this opportunity in this time. All right, just to share with you, just half an hour ago before I came on live, there were actually a family that actually called in And the first thing that she highlighted is that, oh, I want to do something now. Without even because she just highlighted, hey, I want to do something now. This is the right time. So I'm very curious. So I started asking her, it's like, why are you so eager to do something now? And then she shared with me, which is I'm sure many of us are also in that position. She told me that she missed the 0809 cycle. All right, she missed it. She's inside. She went through it, but during the 0809, she's not quick enough to gather the information and bold enough to actually take action. So today, 10 years later, she called me and she said that, okay, Edmund, I know what you do. I already asked around. I know I'm very, very comfortable with how you consult clients. I'm ready. We haven't even go through any consult. It's just a phone understanding, right? But she's very ready because why? She had missed a boat. She said, I missed the boat back in 0809. So how many of us actually went through that same cycle, but we missed the opportunity there to actually, I wouldn't say make a quick buck, but able to leverage on the situation to help us grow our wealth better. Right? If you are those who have actually captured that opportunity, right? Maybe you want to comment yes on the comment section. All right. So you are those who actually benefited. Even though the entire market is very gloomy, everybody is very worried about their finances, their job security. But there's always a group of them who has already planned ahead and took action. So when this lady called, it's like, oh, she told me, I don't want to miss this again. I feel this is worse than 0809. And I want to faster make a decision because I'm ready to come into the ball game. Of course, this is not for everybody. All right, I have to disclaimer, this situation may not be for everybody. For her, in her situation, after I understand more, I realized she did plan a little bit, but it's just the execution and some of the financial numbers, she's not so ready. So we're going to run through an assessment for her to determine whether is it still safe for her, even though she wants. All right. So this is something that if you are part of the community, I have to assure you, even if you want to do something, I will still do the assessment and determine if it's safe for you to carry this journey. Because if it's not safe and you're going to, over leverage yourself just to buy another property or buy more expensive property or beyond your own affordability, then I don't think that is right. All right, I don't think when we want to buy a property or make money through property, we have to exhaust all our savings, exhaust all our CPF. I don't think that is the correct way. All right. So if you know that you have missed something before, whether it's 08, 09, or even 03, or even in 1-3 period, perhaps this is a good time to just, put yourself out a little bit. Because there will always be this opportunity that you can actually undertake. But the question is, most of them, even though they know that there's an opportunity, okay, they are not prepared yet. All right. So they know that there's an opportunity now, but they haven't got prepared, meaning they haven't even sit down properly to discuss with a professional like us to understand can they do something. So they will just be biting on this opportunity, just keep biting. Oh, I know there's an opportunity. I know there's an opportunity. But how many out there actually take the action to do a consultation with us to actually determine is this a right time for them to do something? Right. So the question is, if you're not prepared, right, you can't move. So why not take this time, take this chance to really take a look at your own property portfolio, review it with us, and determine is this the right time for you all to actually do it. Maybe whether it's upgrading or buy another second property, or maybe just rejuvenate your existing older property. There are many ways that we are able to look at opportunity. But the rule of thumb here is that we want you all to preserve the value of your property. All right, to preserve it, whether it's a 3-year, 5-year, 10 years, you must be able to preserve the value of your property. If not, why do you want to keep that property for? All right, so these are just some of the terms. Whenever we go to our personal consults with our clients, we go very deep into their the situation, their finances, and when we do the assessment, we know what they can do. Like this morning, I just run through 3 different sessions. All right, the first group is actually a very young couple. All right, they had bought a resale property over at Tanjong Pagar area. The second is also another young couple. They had a BTO over at Punggol area. And the third one that we had was a resale private property who has been staying there for close to 20 years. And they are just like, okay, I already fully paid my property. What should we do? Really like, they really, what I would say is that they know that there's an opportunity and they want to strike. They want to prepare first. So when it is time, they will just go in. And that is the reason why there are so many transactions are still going on. It's not that the market is slow or down. Things are still moving. All right, with or without you, we are still moving forward with the client's plans, because when they see an opportunity don't wait for us lah. Okay, I would say this is like a 10 years, uh, once in 10 years kind of situation. All right, and if we don't want to really look into it, uh, the next 10 years, you just have to wait for the next 10 years. Very, very straightforward. Very easy to calculate. Singapore property, very, very predictable. I can tell you. Very, extremely predictable. Okay. So are we learning something so far? All right. If we are, please just feel free to comment below, and we are able to actually help you with certain consultations that you need and run some assessment so you can actually look into the different aspect. All right. So moving forward, I just want to give you guys a quick fundamental. All right, this fundamental is something that I always feel sometimes consumers or families don't take action in terms of their property. It's not because they cannot afford. It's also not because they are fearful. It's not about they are fearful, or it's not about that they don't have the ability to do it. I believe a lot of it comes from this word, we call it the mindset. The mindset. Why do I say the mindset? Because the mindset from a normal consumer is that, oh, when I buy a property, I'm treating it like a mechanism to help me make money. Agree? Or who don't make money, right? So make money is always, the number one, I would say, draw lah. The number one draw that anyone, families like you and me, we want to use property to make us more money. All right, so that is the usual mindset that we have, because our parents also tell us the same thing, our grandparents also tell us the same thing. So everybody starts having this craze into property. That's why Singapore, in our free time, weekend, a lot of them like to go shopping for property. Window shopping. We go other countries, window shop for shopping mall, for clothing. We window shop for property. So this is our favorite pastime. All right. So lucky or not, it's in our blood. Okay. We love to shop for property. We love to talk about property. And every time when there's a topic about property, the entire nation will be like, oh, let's do something. Let's do something. But because of this mindset, that because we want to be better. All right. The idea is that we want to use property to better our lifestyle, to create more wealth, more money, so that our next generation could be better. All right. If this is something that you are also looking into property, do feel free to comment below property. All right. So you're one of the many that every one of us are, okay, we want the property to help us make even more money. All right. So, but let me just share with you in a context of a situation like this, a crisis, for example. Then could you also be very concerned that, hey, I may not make money, or hey, what is happening to my property value? Is my property value going to come down? These are the facts that we cannot say that it will continue to go up, right? It will also come down. And are we ready to take this kind of margin if the property market shift? All right. So we're not saying that market will shift now, but what we are saying that it will be definitely slower. I have to be very, very honest. We are not going to have a recovery so fast, but things will not plunge. Things will just gradually grow. All right, moving forward. And it's the same thing. It's because all of us, we want to make money through property. But what if we are able to shift this mindset from a making money point of view, all right, to using property as a form of saving? All right, so we are very used to this term saving. You know, every single month after our paycheck, a part of it goes to our savings, whether it's in the bank. You know, we will just put it one side for running cash, and we just don't bother. So these are the general term that we are always looking out for. So, so instead of looking at us, okay, property is just to help us make money. I want you guys to take this out, that shift your mentality that property is not just a mechanism for you to make money. It is more of a savings mechanism for you and your family in the years to come. All right, I share with you the reason where I got this from. Okay, so whatever I'm sharing with you is not everything. I'm not so smart. It's not everything come out from me. Okay, so I also learn from different business mentors, real estate mentors, coaches, and most importantly is I learn a lot from our existing clients. All right, so we've been in the business since 2008, 2009 period, and it has been so many years that we have consulted hundreds of families in terms of their real estate matters. And many a times, it's the tauke and all the bosses who owns multiple properties before, they share with us what they have done in terms of certain strategies, certain mindset, or even how they actually look at the entire market sentiment. And there is always this saying, right? The rich always gets richer. I don't believe that it's only the rich can get richer. But I understand that the rich get richer by not by luck, because they already study and they prepare ahead for it. So why can't normal commoners like you and me, we are able to also make it rich through property? So our mindset is very crucial. All right, our mindset. If we start to look at property from just a making money mechanism, you'll be very stressful. Why do I say that? Because when the market goes up, wow, you're very happy. Okay, you'll be very, very happy. And one thing will come out is this will come out. Greed will come out. When the market goes up, you'll be like, wow, the market is so good. I think I want more, I want more, I want more. Why? Because we have the notion of property as a mechanism to make money. All right. But what if what if the market actually tanks or turn the other way around? So if it goes up, you want more. All right. This is normal human behavior. When it goes up, we want more. But if it comes down, what will happen? You'll be very fearful, right? You know, you'll be very fearful of what will happen to your property. It's still the same thing because it goes back to making money. It's either you make more or you make less. So in this quadrant of mindset, right, the moment when we start looking at it as I like to use this term, okay, sugar cane. Okay, so you just imagine now you own a sugar cane. You just want to squeeze this sugar cane again and again, trying to squeeze out every single juice that you have out of this property, and then you settle for the next sugar cane. All right, so what we want to do is we don't want you all to think of it like a mechanism to just make the money. If you turn just your mindset to think that it is a savings plan, all right, a property is like a savings plan, it could help you to think a lot better. Why? Because when we are talking about savings, savings is more secure. All right, savings, your monetary savings will not go to zero. All right, it will never go to zero. So if we start looking at property like a savings plan, okay, savings plan, perhaps the way that you react in terms of your decision making for property will be very, very different. So this is something that we picked up very, very early in our business early years. You know, when they share with us, the day that we see an opportunity as a saving, then it's so much easier. Because why? First of all, we are working within our means. We are not speculating. We are not taking property like a game and we just want to make the money and then we sell off and then run away. No, this is a longer term plan. So we are working within our means to save enough within our affordability. All right. And of course, it's also within our affordability. Because by doing this, right, it will switch your decision making at every single stage of your journey for real estate. What do I mean by this? Let me just give you an example. So today, if let's say I look at my property as a form of savings, it's like what when you put your money into a bank, okay, you don't bother it so much, right? Every time you just continue to service and put in and save and save and save. So you can just look at property like a bank, okay? It's like a bank. The concept is the same. If you are able to save $1,000 in a bank, why not put this $1,000 into a property and treat it like you're saving money? Okay, I will run through a little bit more why we say that. Oh, now it's 7. Okay, I'm supposed to have a call later on, but no worries. All right, I'll stay true with you guys. Yeah, so instead of putting just $1,000 in a bank every single month, what about if let's say this 1,000 is part of your property savings? All right, I'm going to run through you guys what do I mean by this. And this is something that most consumers or even homeowners you all don't know. Okay, I won't say you all don't know. It's more of there's information out there, but most of us are not educated in real estate. Okay, I have to be frank. If let's say 208 or 209, if I never come into the business, my financial knowledge, my real estate knowledge, my savings knowledge cannot make it. Or I will be a bummer. I don't know how to manage my wealth. I don't know how to manage my savings. I don't know how to make money work harder for me. I wouldn't know any of all this. But it's because I come into a business where financials are needed. You know, the trends requirement for analysis numbers are required. If not, I will never ever have education like this. I don't know whether you have or not, but I know I don't. Nobody teach me all this back in primary school, secondary school, or even my poly. All right, we are not educated in real estate or even financial element. So which makes our decision making in our adult lives, right, very very complicated because first of all we are not taught. Then how are we able to make a decision based on our adult life for the biggest property ticket item that we're going to buy? So, and I mean, I can't say so much about 15 years, 20 years ago when information are not so transparent. But now, we are in the new century where digital age, information is so transparent, data are available easily. There's no excuse to say that we don't know. There's no excuse to say that, oh, last time I don't know, so now I also don't know. I don't think that's fair. Ultimately, this is your property, this is your money. Wouldn't you want your property to actually make more money? All right. Or should I say, put it into a savings, and you are able to actually make use of it to grow better wealth and help you to go into different stage in your lifestyle. All right. Let me just make sure that things are in order. All right. Cool. All right. So let me just run through this because I just want to make sure every single thing that I want to share with you is there. So actually, I also prepare what I want to talk to you all about. All right. Yes. So as I was saying, if instead of looking at it as from a form of making money, all right. So the taboo word that we like to use is investment. All right. So if we are looking at a property like a tool as an investment, then chances are it will go up and it will go down. You'll go up or you'll go down. But when we look at it from a savings point of view, then you are not so concerned. You're not so concerned because the money will still be there. Your money will still be there. Your property will still be there. It's just a matter of are you able to cash out from your account in time to come. Okay? So this is something that I want to just give you guys a pointer. So the bosses always share with me, don't look at property as an investment tool. See it as a savings tool. All right. Once we see it as a savings tool, it allows us to actually manage our emotions better, our expectations better, and our decision making is not purely just based on how much will I be making. There's a lot of psychology element that we will actually adjust ourselves with. Yeah. So that is the reason why I want to give you guys some updates on how do we see certain things. Okay, how do we see certain things? Because ultimately, when you buy a property, I don't know whether are you guys aware. Let me just give you guys an example. Okay, so this is if you know this, great, use this as revision because I want to involve you guys as much education in certain fundamentals for real estate that generally 90% of us totally will not consider and totally do not know that these are factors that will will hinder our decision making later on, or we could make a wrong decision because we did not look into all this. All right. So wait, let me give me a second. All right. So okay, yeah. So okay, let me just give you a case study and example, right? So please bear with me here as I write. All right, let's just go through a case study. So why is it real estate is a savings plan? Right, real estate is a saving plan. Okay, let me just give you an example right now. So say today lah, okay, assume our property value, PR, property value, okay, is 1 million. You are buying a property at $1 million, right? And based on today's context, our loan will be, our down payment will be 25% of 1 million, right? So that will be 250,000. All right, so that is your down payment. So this one is across the board. As your first property, all right, for your first property, you have to come out at least 25% of the entire sum of a property. All right, so besides down payment, there's always also another fees that we have to consider, which is your stamp duty. All right, stamp duty is something that we all pay lah. As long as you transact a property, be it sale, purchase, rental also, you have to pay stamp duty. All right, stamp duty. So the new guideline for stamp duty for those who are unaware, let me just maybe just write it down somewhere. As long as it's less than 1 million, okay, 1 million or less, all right, your down payment, your stamp duty is actually 3%. And anything that is more than one, sorry, should be this way. Or am I writing the right one? Anyway, so anything that's more than 1 million, oh yeah, I'm correct. Anything that's 1 million is 4%. All right, so there's a formula to actually calculate our stamp duty. And in this case, the stamp duty will come into 24,600, right? So in total, your initial cash outlay and CPF outlay is 274,600. Okay, let's just assuming now you buy this property, all right, and this $1 million property, whichever area, and you buy this as a form of savings. All right, you want to save this using this property as a savings mechanism, and you decided to rent it out with a rental, very comfortable rental of 2,500. Okay, so now you'll be thinking, okay, now I receiving rental on a monthly basis, and the down payment I come in for CPF or even for cash is about 274,600. All right, so this is the cash CPF portion. Okay, so this one you can't run away, or this is MAS guideline. This is how it is. But what many of us we are unsure of, why are we so concerned about buying property, is because we see the amount like, wow, I'm buying a $1 million property. Okay, so today I'm going to change your mindset a little bit to see this as a savings mechanism. All right, so I'm going to try my very best to explain to you. And this is a very unknown mindset that actually consultants will want to share so much, because after you all understand the methodology behind it, right, you will make a better decision in your property in time to come. All right, so if you're learning so far now, please just feel free to comment below. Yes, I'm learning. All right, so at least I know that we are interacting and we are able to actually help you more. So let me just give you guys a quick run through. So a lot of us, we forgot about the term, just right here, principal versus interest. Okay, so I'm going to touch on a little bit what is interest and what is principal. So in a nutshell, let me just give you guys a quick example. So today, if let's say my monthly mortgage is 2,500, okay, my monthly, that means every single month when I pay for my property is 2,500. A good almost estimate 30% actually goes to your interest, because we are borrowing from the bank to buy a bigger property, right? Whether it's a HDB, private property, it doesn't matter. We borrow to buy a property. So we're using very little money actually to buy a very big ticket item. So in this case, I'm actually going to the bank, I fork out 274,000, but I get a $1 million property worth, and I'm borrowing close to 750,000 from the bank. So every single month when I borrow this 750,000, I'm supposed to pay back. I pay my monthly mortgage every single month. It deducts from your CPF, or you top up your cash. It doesn't matter. But a good almost 30% of it actually are interest, depending on how long you hold this property, of course. But on estimate, we use a 70-30 rule. So every 2,500 that you pay, about $750 actually goes into your interest. That means you can't get it back one. But the balance from the 2005, right, actually goes back to you. All right, so I'm going to illustrate this with some examples so you can actually see better. So let me just give you an example. Let's say for this example, all right, we are receiving a good rental of 2,500. All right, so the yield versus a $1 million property is about 3%. Nothing to shout about. All right, so we're not talking about rental here. It's just I want you guys to see the idea of how we do savings in a property. That no matter whether the market is irregardless of whether the market goes up or down, it doesn't matter. All right, so when we do a monthly, so every single month, right, this property, actually you need to pay about 2,588 for your monthly installment. So every single month you will pay out. And for calculation's sake, we did not put it in like, wow, the CPF contribution, how much cash contribution, how much. We just lump it together as one sum for easy understanding. All right, so what you can see here is first, this is your principal. So estimate about maybe 70%. And your interest. All right, maybe estimate about 30%. So what this means is that this 938, every single month that you pay for your monthly mortgage, right, gone one, go to the bank one. All right, goes to HDB, goes to bank, doesn't matter. It means you can't claim this $900 over back, nothing. But your monthly principal goes back into your own property. All right, so this is one of the mistakes that a lot of consumers out there, they don't see that their property is a savings mechanism, because they always think that, hey, I'm paying $2,500 out every single month out of my own pocket. If I go and buy another property, I need to fork out another 2,500. But you must remember, almost 70% actually goes back to you when you sell a property. So I'm going to illustrate this on a very deeper area. So let's just give an example. Let's say we are talking about if you hold this property for 5 years. If you hold this property for 5 years. So which means you pay this $938 of interest times 5 times 12 lah. All right, so that will be your net so-called interest paid over these 5 years. And isn't it the same for your principal? That means at the end of 5 years, right, how much will you be getting if you calculate from here? All right, so we did the sums through our apps, and we do all these financial calculations through manually as well. All right, so this is the total sum that you will get back after 5 years in terms of your principal. All right, this is something I want you all to take note of, because the money that you pay every single month does not go missing. Okay, the one that go missing is only your interest. So this one is confirmed cannot see one. All right, this one confirmed you will not get it back. But your principal, all right, after 5 years is still part in your property value. All right, so technically this is also the amount that you will be able to actually get back. All right, so this is very important. Most of the families that I know, they don't know this point. They did not know that the amount of money they pay every single month actually is part of their own. All right, they did not know. They just happily paying. So I have this joke that I always share with my clients. I mean, once we know them a little bit better, I always say that Singaporeans like to pay for things. We like to pay. Gyro pay, and our utilities also use gyro. Everything we use gyro, and everything comes out from our bank account, and we don't track. So to a certain extent, property also like that. If you can recall, when is the last time you actually take out your payment for your property, and then you review it every single month that, hey, actually this is what I've been paying, how much your interest, how much I've accumulated my interest in my CPF. Have you all actually reviewed this situation of your property for the last 5, 10 years? All right, if you have not, all right, don't be shy lah. I mean, this is a community ourselves, right? Just comment yes. Yes, I did not review. All right, just comment yes, I did not review. All right, don't be shy. I say I can't do anything also. All right, just comment, because I want you all to have this reality check. When is the last time you actually go through your own property that you save so much for, and you finally able to achieve and afford the property that you want to buy, and after that we just leave it one time? Food for thought. All right, I want you guys to go and think about it. We spend so much time and effort to purchase this property, but yet after we acquire it, every single month we just happily pay and pay and pay and pay, without realizing whether your property is still performing as well as last time. All right, so this is a very huge danger we saw in too many families until we are scared. All right, families who have been staying in their property for the last 8 years, 6 years, 10 years, some even 20 years, they did not know what is happening to their property at all. But they are very happy to pay. They're very happy to just continue pay the money to the banks without realizing, is the property worth even that amount in future. Right, I think the closest review that most families will do is refinancing only lah. Okay, if you're on bank loans, of course, when you do refinancing, that's maybe the only time that you're looking at it. But you're looking at it that, oh, I just want to reduce my interest rate. I want to reduce my interest rate. But that is just one equation. All right, so today, my friends, if you have been staying in your property for the last 6 years to 8 years, all right, this is the magic number, 6 to 8 years. Perhaps you want to take some time out, to contact us so you can actually review what is happening to your property. All right, so our consultation is running very easy, very straightforward. All right, we do charge for consultation. All right, so I have to be very, very transparent. We do charge for consultations, but because of this COVID situation, all right, we are not charging anybody. All right, we just want to take this chance to really assess every single one of you, to let you all know what could be possible of your next path. Where are you now? What is your situation now? Is it something that you all can continue with? If it's not, what could be some other plans? Right? So I say again, we do charge for consultations because our consultation is more like a commitment fee. Right? We don't want to waste our time. I don't think you also want to waste our time. This commitment fee is really just to acknowledge that, hey, now we want to work this out together. Let's see where this goes. But during this period of circuit breaker, we are making an executive decision. We are not charging anybody. We are waiving this entire consultation off. So the moment when you come on board with us, we are with you all the way. All right, all the way through the end until we are able to help you, help your family acquire more properties if you want, or even to your children to acquire more properties. All right, so it's a legacy planning. It's a very long-term thing that we are in. All right, so we have already started helping a lot of families to even plan for their second generation, to plan for their second generations of how can they have a first mover advantage. How can they actually come into purchasing, or should I say, earn their first pot or go through property ahead, even when they are very, very young. So these are what we do in terms of our solutions. Our solutions are not templatized, because every situation of every single families and clients are different. So we do personalized solution. So your solution is tailored to you specifically. What are the situation you're in? Where do you see yourself? What are the options and solutions that you can actually undertake so you can actually move forward with your own plan? All right, so I hope that this will actually give you a better good idea. So coming back to principal and interest, all right, I'll just take a little bit while to promote what we are actually doing. All right, so if you like what you're hearing so far, feel free to just comment, like, and give me some hearts also at the same time. All right, so yeah, so what I mean is this 102 actually is your money. All right, so don't worry, because at the end of it, when you are buying a property, it is like a savings plan. So without you realizing, right, at the end of 5 years, right, you are actually already saving $100,000. Okay, within 5 years. So I've done a study with many families. A lot of them are unable to even save $100,000 in just 5 years. Okay, a lot of them will take longer, maybe 8 or even 7 years. So if a mechanism is able to allow you to actually save this 100,000 just within 5 years. And this is just pure principle, meaning you contribute back into your own savings. That's all. You can just treat it like every single month. Now you have two piggy banks. One piggy bank you want to put in the bank. One piggy bank is for your property, and then you just keep saving and savings. And property is one mechanism. And let me just stress that this is only one part for a property. That means you're already forced saving yourself. I have to be a little bit more direct because I myself is also like this. If I have money in my pocket, okay, those who agree, please, after these statements, just comment yes. All right. I'm also those. If I have money in my bank and I have money in my pocket, I should spend. I should buy on something. All right. I will sure, whether it's a gadget, whether it's a trip to somewhere, or the Pao Pao Cha craze, everybody go and queue and keep buying Pao Pao Cha, right? Bubble tea. So this, we know that when we have cash and everything is fluid, right, liquid, we want to spend on it because we cannot hold one. So I'm somebody who I know I cannot save cannot save one. So I rather put this savings theory into an asset that I know I cannot touch. Because today you really cannot touch it. It's really a forced save. Okay, the keyword is forced save. It is forced saving you to save this $100,000 over 5 years period. Wouldn't that be actually a good opportunity for every single one of us to start thinking this way? So stop thinking that your property is just to help you make money. The make money part will come. All right, but look at it as a forced save platform first. All right, and I will share with you why property can also make us money while we are saving. All right, so at the same time, because let me just give you this scenario. At the same time, because the interest that we paid for is about 52,000 over 5 years. Of course, this one is you have to pay one. You cannot say you don't pay unless you're cash rich and you have $1 million cash. Then that's a different story. But because we also ran it out for 2005, if you remember, over 5 years, basically you also have a set of passive income about 150,000. So this is why we call when we have an asset and we are able to either own stay or we rent it out, there's still income coming in, which you do not need to worry. But because although we earn about 150,000 here, remember we still need to minus off the interest that we have paid for. So I'm going to do some sums here so that you guys can actually see it better. All right. So this is a quick calculation. So the capital appreciation, this is only based on, so what we did was, okay, let me just see whether, are you guys able to see this screen again? Okay. So this scenario is based on, if let's say let me just reiterate, we ran it out for 2005, all right? The principal that we get is 1,006, and we paid 938 out, okay? And because of that, we are able to get almost $100,000 in terms of savings into my property. I still have passive income of about 150,000, but of course 150,000 we need to minus off whatever expenses, that is the interest that we have paid for. All right. So now I'm giving an example. If let's say the property just increased 1% per annum, meaning 5% over 5 years. Okay, 1% is very little per year. So I'm using a very conservative, very, very low margin. Even our inflation is about 3% right now. Okay, so I'll touch on a little bit of inflation versus our property price in the next session. All right, I'm not going to run that today. So feel free to just make sure that you follow us. All right, and set your notification to see first. All right, when you set your notification to see first, every single time when I go online, right, you can watch it at the comfort of your home. All right, at the moment. So because of its 1%, so technically your property also increased by $50,000 over the next 5 years. All right, so what we did was we calculate whatever expenses, income, how much rental you get, and we came out the equity basically is about 54%. So your equity 54%, which means amount of cash that you use. All right, equity means how much cash have I used. If you can remember how much cash and CPF have you used for this property, maybe you can just put in the figure. All right, let me just give you a quick summary of how much we actually paid. All right, so this is the total, 274. 274, 600 is our equity. This is the amount of money. We come out from our own pocket, our own CPF, and we pay for this property. And so when we calculate the rate of equity over 5 years, so you can imagine if let's say we divide this by 5, we're talking about 10.8% per annum. So my question is, my friend, 10.8% annually, is it better than any freaking banks out there? All right. So if we start looking at this like an investment, okay, then you will tell me, my stocks I can get 20%. Wow, my REITs, my blue chips, I can get 30%. But wouldn't that also be very risky? What we're offering here in terms of this concept is that it's a very safe brick and mortar asset. No matter what happens in the entire economy, your property value cannot go back to zero. Agree? Right? Your property value can never go to zero. But yet it becomes a savings mechanism for you. And the best of all is hedges over inflation. All right, a property is always a mechanism to hedge over inflation. So if inflation is at 3%, meaning your property prices should go up by 3% every single year. All right, so this one we are just using an example of just 1%. 1% every single year, meaning in the end of 5 years, you'll make 5%, which is $50,000. All right, are you guys still with me so far? All right, so if you're still with me, continue. Let me just give me a second. Okay, so let me just give you guys this another element so that you are able to understand. So when we talk about this is what you actually so-called saved. All right, this is what you save because of your principal. So once we deduct everything, and this is your profit. Because for property, no matter what, you keep it for a couple of years later, there will definitely be some appreciation. All right. So when we look at this, right, can you just imagine? Let me just give you illustrate the example here. Sorry. Let me illustrate the example. So today, So today, if this is a bank, all right, and you put 274K into this bank, how much is the interest rate right now? Comfortably even if you can get quite good, we're talking about 1%, right? Minimum at 1%. But after 5 years, okay, I save you the calculation part. All right, after 5 years, this is the amount that you get, 13,700. All right, this is what you get back in terms of putting into a bank. You put 200, a quarter million, and then at the end of 5 years, you get back 13,000. Versus, if you put into your property, you're still using the same amount, 274, all right? And because the property appreciates, right, not only just in terms of the 1% every single year, which is very, very minimum, with 1% growth, at the end of it, you will get 102K, which is your principal. Remember the term principal versus interest. Principal takes up almost 70% of what you pay on a monthly basis, and 30% is your interest. So you still get back 102, whereas you also have 50,000 in terms of your profit, and your net is 152K. All right, estimate lah. All right, so like I said, we are not going to go drive in too much into the numbers, but this is just an estimate. Yeah, so if you ask me, right, will you want to put our time, so this is time of 5 years, which one will be a better approach? I put in the bank is safe, yes. Returns small, of course. But isn't a property also safe if you just buy and then you own stay yourself? Isn't it also becomes part of another mechanism for you to make, to save the money? So later on, after 5 years, instead of just 13,000, you're able to actually achieve 150,000 back into your own pocket. All right. So the key thing is that you're only using the same amount. All right, you can see I'm using 274,000 in the same situation. So today, if you and I, we both go on different route. All right, I chose to go to the bank route. I have 274 over 1,000 I put into a bank, and you decided to go put into the property. 5 years down the road, when we meet up for coffee at Starbucks, you tell me that you actually make 152,000 more than me. I'll be like, how can I chase you? That means I lost almost 5 years of my time, and I couldn't chase it back, and I will be basically behind you for a lot of time. So this is something that I want to give you guys a quick heads up, because a lot of us, we forgot that the principle is also what we have been doing to save our money inside our property. And I hope that this information actually gives you guys a good heads up onto why we are treating property, right? Not so much about the property is a form of, give me a second, that the property is not just about investment, right? We don't want to look at property as a form of investment. We want property to look at as a like savings mechanism, all right? So that is very, very crucial in terms of saving your money into a property. And a lot of us, we know that why a lot of rich tauke's, they all buy property because they are hedging it over inflation. That is very, I will touch this a little bit deeper on another next session, which I will also touch on why inflation versus our property, there's always this resonation. How does inflation actually help us to actually achieve a certain financial goal that we want in future? All right, so if you like what you have here today so far, right, and this is a new teaching that you have not really hear before, or you didn't realize that actually your property, every single monthly installment that you pay actually splits into both your principal and your interest, maybe you can just comment in the video section below, what are the other terms or information that you're unsure of, that you keep hearing a lot of people mention and you do not know whether these are what it is. Maybe you can just comment below, and share with me what are the questions that you want, and I will definitely do my very best in every single live sessions to cover some of all these topics. We've been receiving a lot of different questions regarding how the current crisis is going to affect our property market. So I've already done a very comprehensive, all right, research and data analysis that I'm going to bring you back in time. All right. So I'm going to bring you back in time to when SARS happened in 2003. All right. I'm also going to bring you forward a little bit to 2008 and 2009 financial crisis period. And of course, the most earliest period, which is the 2013, the cooling measure. So I'm going to bring you back into the history to take a look at these three very main milestone in terms of our property cycle in Singapore. How this few milestone has affected in terms of our property, not just in terms of policies, in terms of our behavior as consumers, and how this tree has a very big impact in terms of our future moving forward from 2020 circuit breaker situation. Right. So if you know that this is something that is going to help you understand the property market a little bit, feel free to just comment below that you really want this, you want this session to be as soon as possible. Just give me 2 more days. I still have a little bit of information because I want to make sure that this is value adding to you. I want to make sure that the enough data and enough research that we have done is not just the surface. We want to go deep into every single point of this timeline and how this will indirectly affect your decision today. I hope that you have enjoyed our session today so far, and hope that we are able to actually keep this community intact. And for those who have joined us the first time, all right, this is Edmund. I'm one of the co-founders for Singapore Real Estate Insider, and our role is very simple. Our mission is very simple. It's to educate you and empower you with the correct knowledge, the right information, and of course using data and the numbers to help you connect what you want to do in your decision for real estate matters. All right, so if that's the case, I hope that you guys have a great evening. Stay safe, and we will get out of this COVID situation together. All right, cheers.